What is up, wrestling fans? Welcome to another episode of the Smark Out Moment Smack Talk podcast. I'm your host, as always, Tony Mango. Joining me, as always, are Callum Wiggins.
His name is Walter.
Not anymore. And Robert DeFelice.
Despite that not being what we're talking about, his name is Walter.
His name is Gunther. And
it's not.
And we will talk about that on the hot tags and rip that a new... that's a mess. That's problematic. Yada yada, you could say. But that's not what we're talking about today. Today we're doing a Mount Rushmore. It's been a little while since we've done one of these, and we know that it's one of the more favorite segments. It's one of the ones that we enjoy a whole lot, and we hadn't done this particular topic yet. We did do a Mount Rushmore of the Royal Rumbles in the past, but this time around we are actually switching it up a little bit, and we are talking about the Royal Rumble participants. So people that have been in the Royal Rumble, not the Royal Rumble matches themselves. And we are going to do our normal thing here. We're going to toss out some names and try to whittle it down to the four that we think really personify what the Mount Rushmore of Royal Rumble competitors would be. We don't really have any set designation of what the qualifying factors are. We'll probably establish those as we go along. But we invite you to join in the discussion as much as you can. Leave a comment below. Tell us your thoughts on what we were saying throughout this whole podcast. And also, of course, who you would pick for your four for the Mount Rushmore for Royal Rumbles. At least as far as before the 2022 Royal Rumble. I don't know, maybe something will happen this year that we end up just being like, oh, you know what? That's so great that deserves to be on the list or something. That's what it is. You know, we don't have the full scope of all Royal Rumbles that'll ever happen in the history of this company because we can't look to the future. But, you know how this works. And if you don't, well, you'll figure it out. So also a reminder, hit that subscribe button, ring that little notification bell to know when we go live for whatever it is we go live for, like pay-per-view reviews or the mailbags and so on and so forth. If you like this video, hit the like button. It helps out quite a bit. And pass this along with the little share button. That'll help us out too. Also, if you want to help us out on the monetary side of things, check out the TeePublic and Redbubble shops for the merchandise, designs, and all the different options you can do and customize all that stuff. And there's also the Patreon, and there is the YouTube members only little button. If you click on that one, you get access to the same stuff as Patreon, like the Darkcasts and the Pick Your Poison tier. So if you want another Mount Rushmore sooner than when we're able to do the next one, you can request it. Then we'll definitely get around to doing that as soon as we possibly can. I think the longest amount of time that we've taken from a Pick Your Poison from when it was requested from when we did it was like a week. We usually try to do it that week. So, you know, if you're itching for some more of whatever it is, that's the best thing for you to do to be able to make sure that you get it. Anyway, a lot of that heavy lifting out of the way. We will talk about some other plugs a little bit later on. I know that everybody's super excited for more plugs. Woo! Mount Rushmore of Royal Rumble. I think we need to do two here. Obviously, we should have a men's list. We should have a women's list. I don't know. Maybe we'll do an overall list if we feel like it's something that's conducive to it. But I don't think we need to necessarily, especially because the women's list, there has only been a few.
Considerably shorter. There's only been 4.
Right. So it's kind of like, you know, that one's going to be a little bit harder. But then again, you know, it is something that we could factor in later on. This is something that's a talking point, whether or not the women that were in the men's Royal Rumble in the past, like China and Karma, whether they would be put into the women's list or the men's list or whatever. I'm going to say right now, the way that I'm thinking that this would go, I don't think I would put any of them on the Mount Rushmore. I can't imagine trying to say China, Beth, Nia, Karma. That's it, right? Those are the only 4 women that were in the men's?
I believe so.
Yeah, they're important that they were in there, but I don't think of them as Mount Rushmore types. And then since they were in the men's, I don't think that really qualifies them for the women's either. What do you guys think about that?
To be clear, well, Nia and Beth were also in women, so they would...
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, for their own stuff, but I mean, like, for that appearance, like, you can't be like, okay, Beth Phoenix deserves to be on the women's Royal Rumble list because she eliminated Kali, like that kind of thing, you know?
Okay, fair enough, but I think that if we're talking overall, there's only maybe 1 or 2 women I'd consider for the Mount Rushmore, and it's a long shot consideration just because of sheer numbers. So
Mhm.
we're gonna have to do a separate list if we absolutely want to get the Mount Rushmore of women competitors.
Yeah, the Women's Rumble hasn't been going long enough, and realistically, there haven't been enough, like, I guess, consistent. There's only one I'd actually argue from the women's side that even has a hope in hell of getting into the overall list, and I still don't think that she would make it there. But definitely none of the ones that appeared in the men's rumble, because they were there as novelty acts, realistically, and they didn't really accomplish much in their rumbles, respectively. Anyway, maybe they eliminated one person, but that's basically they got that pop from eliminating someone like China eliminating Mark Henry, or Beth eliminating Carly, or Karma eliminating. I think she eliminated Hunico.
Cole.
The rumble that she was at. Oh no, Cole just fled, I think.
No, didn't she hit him with the implant buster?
I think he climbed over the rope or something.
Yeah, he hit,
okay.
She hit Dolph Ziggler with the implant buster.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, but they were just there to pop people. Like Nia was there to take the RKO. That was basically really it. So yeah, it's cool moments that they were in the men's rumble, but because they didn't actually accomplish anything in that, then I don't think they should be taken into consideration for the women's side of things.
I will say though, I do think that there's possibly a justification for them to go into well, like, we don't have to follow this, but this is what I was kind of thinking. Maybe a good organizational structure for this would be we pick a winner, somebody who has made an impression for eliminations, somebody who's made an impression for being the Iron Man / Iron Woman, and then somebody who symbolizes that, like, surprise entrant type of thing. And maybe you could justify having somebody like China for that 4th category. It wouldn't be the end of the world for me if that was the case.
I still don't think I would.
Yeah.
Well, China wasn't surprised. We knew China was entering the rumbles that she was in.
That's true.
The only female surprises were Beth, Nia, and Karma.
Yeah, they were ones that just came out of nowhere. But China qualified for the rumbles that she was in.
All the more reason, big red X on that idea then. But generally speaking,
a surprise one, but there are better options.
Yeah, I mean, just as far as like putting them in that category. But what do you guys think about that as a possible way of maybe doing it? I mean, we don't have to, like, we're not beholden to that. We could always just be like, you know what, screw it. We just have these other 3 people or something. But a winner, an eliminator, an Iron Man, and a quote unquote like surprise or shocking person, that would kind of make up the Royal Rumble, right?
I mean, it is a way of extending it past just the multi-time winners, because they're just like the obvious standouts to go in it just from a kayfabe perspective. So it would open up the room for more discussion of potential entrants, which is always more fun for these type of podcasts, even if we do end up just going with 4 guys that won it multiple times.
Yeah, because we can find ourselves having a list of 10 people and being like, you know what, fuck it. It's this one, and only because they won a bunch. But
well, there is at least one person who never won that I think needs to be on here. We'll get there.
I think we're probably going to end up arguing for the same person. So yeah, like, where do you guys want to start? You want to start with maybe trying to knock out the women's list, just because it is so much easier?
Yeah, we could start off with the women just to get the ball rolling, and in which case we should just put a diamond encrusted lock on Charlotte Flair being in the women's Royal Rumble Mount Rushmore. She has been runner up once, 3rd place once, and won 1 out of 3 Rumble appearances.
She also, if I'm looking at this, she has not had the longest time in any of them yet, but I think it's just barely or something for one of them. But I'm pretty sure has the most amount of eliminations for at least one of them. She did in 2019. It wasn't a record breaking or anything. She has close to the most combined, but she's actually in third or fourth place.
Oh.
Right now, Shayna Baszler has 14. Bianca has 12. Nia Jax has 11. And then Charlotte and Rhea have 10.
Okay.
But all these stats you can find on smarkoutmoment.com.
But still, she is from a kayfabe perspective, the most consistently successful Women's Royal Rumble competitor. So I feel like that pretty much locks her in.
I would consider her pretty much a guarantee, yeah. For that matter, are you going to go with the same kind of thing with me? That kind of means Bianca Belair might need to be in there?
Bianca Belair is the one I thought of immediately, before even Charlotte.
Because not only is she the second most eliminations, she won one. And she won it from, oh God, when did she was
number 3?
Number 3 or something? Yeah.
And then the year before, she had a great run too. So
yeah, 2020, she had the most eliminations, tied with Shayna Baszler. So she has
21, but she in it the longest amount of time.
So let's see.
No, today.
Yeah, she won it. So yeah.
So the longest times we've got going on are, she was the longest in 2020 and 2021. Bianca.
So she kind of fits the Iron Woman mold.
All right, I'm totally fine with locking her in.
So if we're going with a winner and an Iron Woman, that would leave eliminations and then like surprise or shocking or different or oddball or whatever. Realistically, I mean, if you go with eliminations, that would be Shayna Baszler. Just because she has the most amount of eliminations at this moment. She hasn't won, but then again, it's kind of the whole point.
There's definitely a possibility for Shayna. I would think, even though we have got like the quote-unquote winner with Charlotte Flair, would be kind of wrong, at least not to discuss Asuka at the very least.
Well, Asuka's got 3 eliminations in 2018 and then 0 in 2019, 20, and 21.
She had never appeared in the Rumbles outside of the first one.
Mm-hmm. So for just one, I don't know.
Oh, yeah,
what
it's not
Becky?
Elimination. Well, Becky doesn't have a huge number of eliminations either.
Becky's in the first 2. She lasted 30 minutes and then 13 minutes. She's had a cumulative... Becky had 2 and then 2. So she's only eliminated 4 people.
Yeah, so that's the only other 2 winners. I'd usually just go towards Asuka just because you have the inaugural one, and I always kind of feel like when you talk about Mount Rushmore and you've got Washington there as well, and Washington's the first president, so you would inevitably at some point at least turn towards the first winner of the Women's Royal Rumble. And give it at least a look. I don't think she should be out of the running, even though she hasn't eliminated many people. Shayna's definitely an option.
Currently, as far as like timing goes, if we were going to go with more of an Iron Woman sort of, well, see, that's again, it's Charlotte and Bianca are really just running away with this because Charlotte's got the longest cumulative time out of all these different people, and the second is Bianca. Bianca's got 2 of the longest times. She's got the longest amount of elimination streaks. It's really, those 2 are just kicking some ass. And then you got somebody like...
there's only been 4 matches, so it's going to be split.
You got somebody like Sasha, who did have a little bit of a record going. She was at 54 minutes and 46 seconds, but she was in 1 Royal Rumble. Right. She seems like she's going to miss it again this year. Natalya beat her the next year, and she's just shy of matching Bianca's.
I think Natalya should be on it. Hasn't she been in every single Royal Rumble?
She's been in every Rumble. She is at 138 for the longest time cumulative, so she's number 2 for the longest cumulative time. She might be maybe the best option for like being an Iron Woman if we didn't just go with the Charlotte and Belair already have it covered kind of thing. Nobody else really coming all that close. A lot of people are like, at most 30 minutes after 4 of them, like Nikki Cross or so. Well, she was only on 3, but
just from my own personal perspective, I'd feel like putting Natalia on the Rushmore would feel like putting Big Show on the Royal Rumble one for the men's. It's like you kind of feel like they should be there, but it just doesn't feel right. Because
it's such a smaller.
I just don't think you should get that sort of recognition for just showing up.
But in this case, there's only been 4, so you kind of have to at least.
Well, no, you can put Baszler in because Baszler showed up and kicked out.
Why not Baszler and Natalia, and then there's your Mount Rushmore?
Well, if we put Baszler on there for elimination sake, because she is the one with the most eliminations, we would have elimination for Baszler. We would have Iron Woman and elimination and winner for Belair, and then kind of Iron Woman elimination and winner for Charlotte. So we would be left with a 4th of like, who's the fun oddball type of pick? If it's Flair, Belair, Baszler, and blank.
Well, then I'm going to make a case for Beth. Beth has performed well in her Royal Rumbles, and she was a pioneer in the sense that she was in the 2010 one when they weren't really. That was when they weren't even really doing what they were doing with China. So she's a pioneer in that way. So maybe it's Beth.
I'm going to share with you guys my big spreadsheet, just because why not? Easier access for you guys to be able to look this information up too. Looking on this list and trying to figure out who would kind of symbolize to me like, oh my God, it's so-and-so popping up. I mean, there's not many, because like even the ones that were surprising, like,
I hear ya. Kelly on the Mount Rushmore.
Like, Trish Stratus is in the first one, but of course she was. Why wouldn't she have been, Or like, Tori, or any of them, like the NXT people in particular, like that doesn't really stand out as like a huge deal.
Well, none of the women's ones are shocks because they need them. It's like they had to get some legends in because they just don't have the either numbers or the star power.
Value. Yeah.
I mean, the most shocking entrant for the Women's Royal Rumble is for the upcoming one because Mickie James, who is Impact's Knockouts champion, is going to be in it, and that's the most shocking. And even then, it's like, well, of course, if they have the opportunity to put Mickie James in there, they're going to request Mickie James gets in there. So I don't think you really can do it. The only real, quote unquote, if you want to even look at that surprising one, is Santina.
Yeah, and that's of course just like a 1-minute gag, so you can't really say that's Mount Rushmore-ish. I know some people are probably going to argue Naomi, and I'm starting to think maybe that might be the best option, even though I kind of crap on the way that.
Well, didn't Callum just disqualify the idea of giving people the spot just for showing up?
Well, she's the one that gets the
saves.
Yeah, even though the ones that she does aren't great. They're just the same ones Kofi's done.
The most impressive save I saw in the Royal Rumble from a woman was Casey.
Right, Casey was far better at that. That one time she did that was like, that made a bigger deal, but they've made Naomi that kind of person. And she'll do it this year. She'll do something like that, and then Sonya will fuck her over, and,
Realistically, I'm okay with putting Naomi on here because, again, there's not a lot of people for this Royal Rumble.
Since we don't have any real shockers or real, like, noteworthy moments yet, maybe Naomi. Because she does have at least some moments more so than Natty. Natty is just pretty much there. Maybe she'll get the world record for most appearances of being there. like Maria being in there, Mercedes Martinez, Jillian, none of them really like. Yeah, Kelly's popped up, but who cares? Does anybody remember what she did in those 2.5 minutes that she was in 2020?
She did some great drop kicks. I think honestly, both her and Tori should get some points for being better athletes today than they were when they were active.
And Bailey was doing pretty good last year, but be interesting to see if this year completely changes this around. Because right now I am leaning more towards Naomi.
Realistically, I'm fine with Naomi on here.
All right, you want to just lock that in then? 2 votes against 1, unless Callum's in, and then it's 3 against nobody.
I just feel like because we're like pulling hairs over who goes in, why aren't we just putting one of Asuka or Becky in?
I don't see any real reason for Asuka.
If that she won a Rumble.
She won it, but she also lost at WrestleMania, and she hasn't done anything since then.
Well, so then if we're gonna go there, then it's Becky. Becky was in the first one,
and she won the main event of Wrestle. She is the only person to
won, and then won in the main event.
Yeah, so she's the first person to win the Women's Rumble and then main event WrestleMania.
So either Naomi or Becky then.
So I'm good with Becky if those are the qualifiers.
I just think that's a bigger deal than just somebody who basically does a derivative of what John Morrison and Kofi Kingston do.
Yeah, you know what? I'm cool with that. Becky Lynch, you boot that out. Naomi. Naomi is our honorable 5th if we decide to even have one, which we don't, because that's the Mount Rushmore. There you go. Women's list done, at least as far as pre-2022 Royal Rumble. Men's list is going to be a lot harder to figure out because we have a lot more options to go from. There's been a grand total of, 57 women that have been in the Royal Rumble, I think. Let me just double check if I got that number right. 57 women have been in the Royal Rumble. As far as the list of men that have been in the Royal Rumble, 364. And that merges people that have multiple gimmicks. So if somebody's like, say, Papa Shango and Godfather, Akeem and One Man Gang, they're all merged together, but 360 something. Obviously, the vast majority of them, not remotely in the realm of discussion. Nobody's going to be making an argument that 8-Ball is a Mount Rushmore person for being in one Royal Rumble and basically being completely, utterly forgettable.
Quick, Tony, who eliminated him?
8-Ball, 1998. I'm thinking Austin.
Probably. I just remember we both got stuck on those Sporkle.
Was he the one that didn't show up in 99 or something? Or no, wait, that was 98, wasn't it?
Because they took Mabel?
No, it was like somebody was supposed to, I think it was Skull. It might have been Skull. And they were like, oh, it's Austin and, whatever, that kind of thing. I think it's 98. But yeah, that's not memorable enough to go on a list. There are still, though, plenty people, if it's just winners or if it's the eliminations or if it's, fun oddball type things. We can't go down a list and figure it out the way that we just did. We have to just kind of spitball. So here's a name that I feel like is pretty much guaranteed. Stone Cold.
Yep, absolutely.
He was featured in every single Royal Rumble for every single year he was active. I think, he's won 3 of them. He's the only one to win 3 of them. 97 makes him. 98 takes him to stardom. He is the story of the 99 one. Like, you can go on and on. Austin is the quintessential way to book a top performer in Royal Rumble matches. Austin has to be on this list.
He effectively won 4. And
that's true.
Who knows if he would have been in a different position for 2000. Maybe he would have won that one too. You never know. But yeah, he has everything checked off on the list. I mean, he doesn't have the longest ring time or something, but he's a guarantee. He's 100% a lock. I can't see any argument against him. That one's easy. That's the easy one.
I mean, he's in. Like no argument.
So looking through a list of some people, I'm going to keep a list separate. You don't need to see it on your screens, anybody. Like, this isn't something that you need to figure out like the mock drafts or something. You're not missing out on anything. But I'm going to start making a little bit of a list of just anybody who we pitch who realistically has at least some kind of say in this. One of them being, in my mind, Shawn Michaels. Michaels won 2. Back-to-back, 95 and 96. 95, of course, not a great Royal Rumble. It's the shortest out of all of them. It's got a lot of awful people in there. But Michaels does win 2, and he wins from the number 1 spot. He's the first person to do that. He establishes a baseline rule of the 2 feet have to hit the ground. He goes on to win the title the second year, WrestleMania. So it's that whole boyhood dreams come true after winning the Royal Rumble and getting that shot thing.
I feel like he really sets that precedent for the road to WrestleMania, and you win, and it's this emotional thing of, I won WrestleMania, I won the Rumble, and I'm going to WrestleMania. I feel like he really sets up that whole trope that we now maybe are sick of,
I got a feeling there's a chance we might not pick him on this, but I do think that he's at least in the discussion.
Michaels?
Right.
Oh, I didn't say Michaels next because I didn't want to go with 2 right off the bat that we were absolutely going to go with. I think Michaels has to be on here. Look at the amount of eliminations he's accumulated across all the years he's been in. Michaels at one point was like a Mr. Royal Rumble.
I'm trying to look up at who's got the most cumulative eliminations. Right now, Shawn is, he's not going to get any more, most likely. But Shawn might have the record, actually. Shawn...
Wait, he's either number 1 or 2.
Is at 40 according to my list. Undertaker is at 40. Triple H is at 32. Austin's 36. Roman Reigns is 32. 27 for Randy Orton. Get some 10s. We got some 10. Kane is at 46.
Yeah, so Michaels is tied for 2 with the Undertaker. So how much better can you get?
Well, that's another name. Is as far as eliminations go, we got to talk about Kane.
Yeah. We're gonna burn through this because Kane for me is the one guy who hasn't won the Rumble that I feel like gotta be on here. After a while, it became a thing of, oh shit, Kane's here. How many is he gonna get this year? Because he had the record for 13 years of the 11 eliminations at the 01 Rumble. Kane is arguably the best Rumble performer to never win it.
What are your thoughts on Kane, Callum?
I think I would definitely put Kane ahead of Michaels in the pecking order. I think I see him as more of a solid lock just for pure eliminations and longevity. He's appeared in more consecutive Royal Rumbles than anyone else, I believe. Or he's even most consecutive, or at least most appearances in the Royal Rumble. So he hasn't got the longevity in terms of time in the Rumble, but he's got longevity in terms of just showing up.
So technically speaking, if we're talking eliminations, Roman Reigns beat the record.
Yep.
And Braun Strowman beat it. And Brock Lesnar beat it. So there is that discussion point. But
yeah, but that's so recent though.
Right. And that's after they realize that there's a point where it's okay, well, we can kind of play around with some of these statistics, and you're not going to forget that Kane had that record.
And Braun Strowman beat it in a 50-man Rumble in Saudi Arabia. It wasn't like Braun beat it at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, it's the greatest Royal Rumble is something that's really strange. We have to factor it in here because it technically is a Royal Rumble match, but it's the weight for it, not quite the same. So I don't look at that as all right, Braun Strowman's got the record of 33. cumulative eliminations, and he had beaten this record. That means that Braun Strowman's the elimination guy. Who's more memorable, Kane or Braun Strowman? I'm a big fan of Braun Strowman, but Kane is.
Braun Strowman's great, but come on.
And like, yeah, Brock Lesnar's got 24 total, and he had eliminated 15 people. What was the thing? Something along that line. 13.
Brock hasn't been in many of them, but he's always a standout. He's maybe only been in 2 or 3 his entire career.
So he's been in
4. He's been in 4 Rumbles.
Oh, that's right, because it was the one that Goldberg.
He was in the 2003 one. He was in the one that he was eliminated by the Wyatt family, or Bray Wyatt. Yeah, 2016. And then he was in 2018.
That was 17. No, it was 16, 17, and 20.
Yep, 16, 17, and 20. He was 9, as far as time goes, 9 minutes, 9:30, 4:30, and then 26, 24. Obviously, if you take the 2020 Royal Rumble out of this, Brock Lesnar is not even in the discussion, really. But I still think he's probably not on the list. I don't think I'd go Brock Lesnar as one of the Mount Rushmore types over some of the other ones we've already mentioned.
But I at least want to talk about like some of the names. Like, you can't mention Diesel on any Mount Rushmore, but you can at least talk about the fact that like that 94 Rumble appearance for him probably gave him the push that he ends up getting. It gives, like, he's kind of got the spot named after him where everybody's like, oh, are they going to get that Diesel spot where they, just eliminate everybody and become a star? Like, great performance for that one Royal Rumble.
Yeah, there's certain people that have at least one showing where they kicked some ass. Diesel's one of them. Rusev has done really well in some Royal Rumbles in the past. We've had people, I mean, Yokozuna did really well in 93.
Yoko has a great, maybe the most logical Royal Rumble appearance ever, where it's like, yeah, of course the big dude that enters at the end is going to win.
Right. And of course you got people like Big Show, who out of all the times the Big Show's had an opportunity, he never managed to win. He came close.
If there was like a biggest disappointment spot in the Royal Rumble, it'd have to be Big Show, because you'd think he'd be a Royal Rumble winner just on sheer size.
He came close to winning in 3 of them. He was the second to last.
2004, and I don't know what the last one would be.
There might have been a third one. I know those 2 for sure, obviously, but I'm kind of thinking that there might have been another one where he was at least maybe the number 3, or he was in the final 4 or so. He's been in there.
It was the 2015 one where they
spent
the last 5 minutes of the Rumble with those Kane and Big Show lumbering around the ring, eliminating everybody that everyone wanted to win.
Yeah, that should be unforgettable.
I was there. So I remember that one, that's for sure. I remember everybody being all pissed off. That also brings another point of the discussion, though. Daniel Bryan.
Oh, I didn't think that was the person you were going to discuss.
Yeah, I did not think that was
Daniel Bryan definitely shouldn't be in this.
Daniel Bryan's nowhere near this.
Daniel Bryan is not somebody who should be in the Mount Rushmore in that regard, but he has the
greatest Royal Rumble thing.
He has the longest time.
Yeah.
I personally don't consider the greatest Royal Rumble canon. I'm not gonna lie, it doesn't count. It doesn't count because no one got anything out of it.
Callum? Can we 2-1 that? Because I'm okay with not counting that.
It's not canon. It doesn't result in. I know there's previous Royal Rumbles, obviously the initial ones but it doesn't follow the same format. It's not in the sort of like the guy wins just a green title belt at the end of it. Strowman does.
Why? Like, I don't care. I know we talked about the George Washington spot, but like I'm not counting Hacksaw because Hacksaw wins a meaningless 20-person Royal Rumble. Like, yeah, cool, he won the first one, but he didn't really. Like.
Well, to steal your line, here's the thing: you're not even 2-1ing it. to me, Daniel Bryan being an hour and 16 minutes at the greatest Royal Rumble doesn't mean anywhere near as much as Edge being 58 minutes and 28 seconds, for instance. Or Jericho. He was an hour and 13 seconds in 2017. The greatest Royal Rumble. Yeah, I just figured, technically speaking, Daniel Bryan does have the official record, but it's the greatest Royal Rumble. You add 20 more people to the match. Yeah, of course he's going to have the longest time.
The most miraculous thing about that is, like 3 weeks beforehand, Bryan wasn't allowed to be touched.
Right. And then they end up, hey, can you start and go, wrestle a full hour plus?
Hey, cool, you're cleared. Here's everybody.
Right.
Like,
we're going to have you work with Cass. We're going to have you, that kind of thing. So I do think we pretty much disqualify the idea. Daniel Bryan, technically speaking, if we were looking for an Iron Man, should be the Iron Man. But just because you have the record right now doesn't mean that you symbolize the Iron Man concept versus somebody else who you could argue somebody like a Rey Mysterio. Rey went from the number 2 spot and he went through what was it, an hour or something? Something along that line.
Hour and 2 minutes.
Isn't it like 60 to 12 or something?
I think so, yeah.
So you got these impressive Iron Man people that are technically not as long as Daniel Bryan, but if you're going to see the Iron Man of the Royal Rumble, I'd argue people would think of Ric Flair. People would think of, if they're old enough, Bob Backlund. People would argue Shawn Michaels, the number 1 spot, even though it's like 36 minutes or something. Chris Benoit, which is not going to go on our list for obvious reasons. Edge this past year, going the whole distance. I value that more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, you're not getting any argument from me. I think, Greatest Royal Rumble doesn't count. I think there's a lot of people who won multiple Royal Rumbles that, like we just watched 2005 for a Pick Your Poison. Batista won 2. Batista's nowhere near my Mount Rushmore. Other winners, like I'm a really big fan of Seth Rollins. That Royal Rumble sucked. I'm sure he spent the most time in that one. I don't care. It was a bad Rumble. One person who I think does need to be in the discussion just for sheer every time he's in it, he's the last one or the winner. Roman.
Roman is a pretty much lock at this point. You figure the guy won 2015 and oddly enough,
2014 because that was his first one, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, 2014 he was the runner-up and people were, rooting for him over Batista because of the Daniel Bryan thing. He wins 2015. He doesn't win 2016, 17, 18, that kind of thing. He doesn't win any of them after that. But he is constantly...
At the end.
Yeah, he is the guy to eliminate. He's the guy that Shinsuke Nakamura eliminates. He's the guy I'm pretty sure that Randy Orton eliminates in 2017.
Drew eliminates him.
Drew eliminates him,
Literally
yeah.
Everybody. If he's in the Royal Rumble, he's last eliminated or he's winning.
And
that's
you've got
history.
The only reason he didn't win 2016 was because the whole thing revolved around Roman Reigns. Yeah. And it was a means to have Triple H come in at number 30 and screw him. And the only reason he
last eliminated,
right, unless they just do the Dean Ambrose thing. So like from 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, the guy's the person and he wins the record and he has one of the longest times. Not the longest cumulative time from plenty of other different people, but he currently sits at, let's see where he is on this list. So somebody like a Rey Mysterio, for instance, for cumulative time, is at 4 hours and 5 minutes. Roman Reigns, over the course of his things, is at 2 hours and 44 minutes, but he's got a 59-minute run on one of them, which beats out Edge's 58 from going through as long as he did with this whole year. So it beats out Randy Orton's 58, because Randy Orton 2021, 58 minutes. Roman checks off an Iron Man, an elimination record, a winner, a constant almost winner, a whole Rumble revolving around him and being somebody who's a controversial pick because 2014, 2015, that kind of thing. It's hard to argue against Roman Reigns not being on this list.
Yeah, I mean, he's on it for me. Like, it sucks because, again, you're knocking out a lot of major names, but Roman has become so synonymous with the match.
Yeah, he's definitely in the discussion, but the top end discussion.
Our list is kind of starting to fill up a little bit because right now we've got in this discussion list Stone Cold, Shawn Michaels, Kane, Roman Reigns, Rey Mysterio, Braun Strowman, Brock Lesnar. We should mention Triple H. We should mention Randy Orton. You know, these guys have had either multiple wins or they both have won more than once. Both have had lots of eliminations. Randy Orton, I would think, not in the main discussion just because I think the other options are better. But he is somebody who, you know, on paper, he would be somewhere up on that list. Maybe he'd be like the number 9 pick or something, but he's made a name for himself in the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't even, you know, we completely look over names like Hogan, for example, because even though he won 2, it was at a time where, like, that pre-92, 93, where the Royal Rumble was just a spectacle. But there's names like that you at least have to mention when you're talking Royal Rumbles. I think, you know, you've got to talk about somebody like a Brett, who was trusted with starting the first ever Royal Rumble and given spots to be an Iron Man anytime he was in it because he's Brett, you know, and he did win. Well, he's a co-winner in 94. These are just some names I want to at least glance over just so that we get that full, like, brevity of Royal Rumble.
We should talk John Cena. He won 2.
Absolutely.
He has a big, shocking return in 2008. One of the best moments of any Royal Rumble is his return.
Yeah, I was there. I was there for that one, and that was legitimately like, there's no way John Cena's actually here. They said it would be 9 months, and it's been like 3. You know, that moment will stand the test of time forever.
The thing that dings John Cena, takes him off the list for me, 2013. He wins that, and, you know, in retrospect, yeah, of course, he was going to win it. It was going to set up The Rock and all that, but it did feel like it was Ryback's year then.
I mean,
in retrospect,
we're talking hindsight, yeah.
Right.
Hindsight, best decision possible.
It ultimately worked out better that way, but, like, man, it just didn't feel right then, you know? And if you were to say to most people, obviously casual fans aren't going to be able to tell you any statistics, but, like, you know, people like us, at least, if you were going to say, name the years that John Cena won the Royal Rumble, I don't think anybody's going to be able to necessarily pick out 2013. Some people, they might be able to go like, oh yeah, you know, Austin in 97, or like, even the John Cena one in 2008, to specifically remember that. 2013. Are you saying
that because 2013 it felt like he was a little pat over the hill, kind of?
Sort of. Like Randy Orton winning in 2017. That kind of deal. Where it's just like, okay, yeah, I guess. But, you know, what's the big surprise or happy, fun, interesting element? It's not there. Shinsuke Nakamura winning. Cool. Oh man, we're going to crown this new guy and he's going to go somewhere. Doesn't work. But at least then it felt cool. And, you know, even somebody like, you know, Undertaker in 2007. Yeah, he's been in the company for years and years and years at that point. But that felt cool and different. You know, number 30 wins it. And it ends with Shawn Michaels and Undertaker and all that. If it's got something memorable to it, I think it's going to last a long time. And if it doesn't have anything memorable, it's forgotten by the next year. So,
and I think a lot of that has to tie into the the WrestleManias that follow. You know what I mean? Like, everybody remembers Ray because Ray wins that, he wins the belt. It was a big moment. You might not remember, like, hey, Batista won in 2014, but that whole thing was about Daniel Bryan, so maybe you don't remember Batista, or maybe you really don't remember Shinsuke Nakamura in 2018.
Like, nobody remembers the Del Rio thing other than the fact that it was more people. The Sheamus one, the WrestleMania thing is what everybody remembers.
But again, it's like you remember Daniel Bryan.
Right. You remember what happened at WrestleMania more than what happened at the Royal Rumble. So it's like, nope, Sheamus, no. I think that Edge is somebody that is worth a little bit of a discussion because Edge, he gets a win in 2010. He comes back from an injury. It's nowhere near as big of the John Cena thing. But then he also, of course, wins last year. He goes the distance, so he's got a record for that.
He also comes back in 2020, which was like, in hindsight, would be the only positive of the year. Like,
one of the very few at the very least, yeah. As far as cumulative eliminations go, Edge is at 23, so he's at a very respectable number for that. I don't know what the ranking necessarily is. I didn't bother to do a full, like, sort by whatever. I don't want to fuck up my list. But I think Edge is one of those people. He's not going to be probably a Mount Rushmore pick for me, but he'd maybe be a B tier one, maybe a C tier one at the very least.
Yeah, I can see that.
Trying to look through if there's any other people that are like major standouts before we start getting into oddball picks. Because we've talked Undertaker, we've talked Orton, Rey Mysterio, et cetera, et cetera. We haven't really talked Ric Flair, though. We probably should give a little bit more discussion to him.
Well, yeah, I mean, he wins the best Rumble of all time. Like, that Rumble is built around him being able to go 60 minutes and just win a belt. Like, that Rumble was built for Flair. It's got one of the greatest lineups ever. I think Callum said the other day that it would be the greatest lineup ever. You know, Flair's Royal Rumble is one of the go-to Royal Rumbles when people talk about, hey, which one would you recommend I watch? Well, 92 is up there.
It's also it's the first Rumble that matters as well.
Yeah,
right.
First Rumble with any sort of like stakes attached to it. Because Flair wins the WWE Championship for the first time in that Rumble match. So it felt more important. Then it starts off the tradition of the person who wins the Rumble challenges for the title WrestleMania from Yokozuna onwards. So it's the start of making the Rumble match actually important rather than just a gimmick.
Where do you guys think he might land? Do you think he's a Mount Rushmore pick for you guys?
I think he's in a shout just because of that one Royal Rumble appearance alone.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the greatest Rumble of all time, but it's definitely one of the most star-studded of all time.
I mean, if you have a list of 5, it's up there. Like,
yeah, I'm pretty sure like that was part of our Mount Rushmore of Rumble. So,
it had to have been, yeah.
Yeah.
So we do have a list of people. More than likely, we've got our list somewhere within here. But is there anybody that we haven't talked about yet that you think might be in that discussion before we start breaking down some other elements of this? Any like big standout, like, oh my God, how you guys not talked about? I don't know. That's the whole point of me asking if you guys for anybody else.
Well, I want to know how we haven't talked about like Bushwhacker Luke.
Oh, I do want to potentially do a worst if we can figure that out. Bushwhacker Luke would be on that list most likely. But I want to kind of put a pin in that discussion. Come back around to that.
I think we've definitely hit the important ones. We might not have said all the winners. One name that stands out that we haven't touched on is Rock. But like Rock won a pretty crappy Rumble and then doesn't win the belt at Mania, you know?
Oh, I just came across one that, yeah, he's probably not going to make the list, but it's somebody that I think we should talk about. Mick Foley.
The 98 one. like the 3 faces of Foley coming into the Rumble. I think in hindsight, wrestling being booked the way it is now, Mick Foley definitely would have won a Royal Rumble because, you know, he's Mrs. Foley's baby boy. He actually did it. But obviously he never does because there was a bigger star at the time. There was Stone Cold Steve Austin. You never needed to do that. But Mick Foley's fun in Rumbles. He's never really a standout competitor to me, but he's fun.
The 3 Faces of Foley thing's a huge moment. I don't think it's Mount Rushmore worthy, but I do think that that's like, if I try to think of like what I picture the Royal Rumble to be, pretty high up on that list is that. That's just fun, you know?
Yeah, but then do you balance that out with him having a sock fight with Santino?
Oh, I loved that.
Even that's fun. Like, yeah, he's fun.
Right. So I don't know. He might be somebody worth talking about when it comes to like if we did a fun pick. But same regard with that, Kofi Kingston.
Oh yeah. Oh,
because
that's somebody we have completely overlooked.
John Morrison, of course, took the spin of the 1 foot on the floor kind of thing and did his own like upgrade to it. And Kofi was like, "Yeah, fuck that. I'm gonna level that up even more." Kofi, man, I don't know. He is somebody that I could see being on this list potentially. I love the Kofi Kingston spots.
Yeah, look, the Royal Rumble is built around 3 questions. What man is going to Mania? What woman is going to Mania? And what is Kofi Kingston going to do? So he's worth the discussion because the event is built around him. The only thing he has left to do is win.
Which, man, he probably could have won that 1 year with the whole Kofi Mania, and that would have been kind of crazy, but it didn't happen then. That way, you know.
Like, nobody was thinking Kofi Kingston was going to fight for the title.
Right.
Otherwise, maybe they would have.
You say, like, what else has he got left to do except win it? Well, maybe stay in after coming back after his spot. It's like he gets back into spot, he does that cool spot, and then he does like a Trouble in Paradise or something, and then gets immediately eliminated by the next person who throws him over the top row.
Every year.
Yeah.
Every single year, it's the exact same thing. Because that's, I'm assuming because they build that because it's like, well, if he does fall, we know that he's already going to get eliminated then anyway, you know?
Yeah. And he's never ever sniffed a Final Four or anything like that, so he's never even come close to winning a Royal Rumble.
There's Andre, there's Big John Studd, there's yeah, you know, I think we kind of touched on a lot of those big names before we get into like the worst and too many oddball types of scenarios.
Yeah, the only other oddball that I would put in a positive sense is Santina. I think Santino's got, obviously a lot of his traits are in there for like some of the worst ones, but he was always a lot of fun to watch in these Rumble matches. Like that fastest elimination of all time against Kane, he has to be absolutely perfect for that. Like, it had to be timed to perfection for him to get over the rope as quickly as he did. He has that cool spot with Del Rio where I think basically everybody was desperate for him to win the match.
Man, in hindsight, that would have been great.
Yeah, even in the ramifications of the fact that meant that Santina Morella was going to WrestleMania, but still would have been cool. They mentioned the sock fight with Foley. He does have cool spots in Battle Royal matches. I know he's not going to get on the Mount Rushmore, but like I think he's at least worthy of talking about to a degree.
Starting to think we might end up doing one of those weird Mount Rushmores where we go, okay, the Mount Rushmore of fun people in Royal Rumble, the Mount Rushmore. We might end up having that kind of thing play out. So we will talk worst. We will talk these best overall. Maybe we'll get into some subcategories like that. But before we move on to that, I want to just remind everybody of our sponsors for this episode, Manscaped. If you are interested in picking up some of the products that they've got there on their website, manscaped.com, of course, then make sure that you use the promo code SMARK, SMARK. You get 20% off and free shipping with that promo code with everything that you can possibly pick up there. I have not heard anything bad from anybody about any of these products. So at this point, we've talked about all of them separately. I've had my wife talk to you about how great the body wash smells. I can confirm with you that has not gotten old yet. by any means. And you can see some of the products on your screen right now if you're watching this on YouTube at the very least, like the sheer kit, and you can see the crop mop over there and the boxers even. The boxers are comfortable too. The t-shirt is one of my t-shirts I have in my regular rotation. I wear it constantly. Probably one of the most comfortable shirts that I have. So I recommend it. I think that you should definitely check them out for a multitude of reasons, not only just because the products themselves are good, but you're going to get quality products as well. It's not just going to be, try it out once and then, see what happens. No, you got advanced skin safe technology to make sure you're never going to cut yourself. All the times I've used a lawnmower 4.0, not a single time have I ever had any kind of razor shave burn or like any kind of nicks anywhere. And the same goes for the Weed Whacker. Easily the best nose trimmer that I've ever had, hands down. I tossed out the other ones that I have because there's no point in them anymore. Ball deodorant, still going through that, ball toner and everything. You're going to end up loving whatever you pick up here. So go to manscaped.com, use that promo code SMARK, SMARK, just like the website. 20% off and free shipping. How are you going to deny yourself of that? Do something that'll make your balls thank you. Pick it up, use that code. And thank you to anybody who does. Thank you to Manscaped for sponsoring us. And I don't know, drop a comment below and tell us your thoughts on whatever it is that you try out on here. We want to hear from you guys what you've been trying, and then maybe, that'll convince some other people to use that too. So if you want to give a a glowing review to, I don't know, maybe it's the performance package or something like that, drop them in the comments below. Tell us that Manscaped sent you their way. So let's go back to the Mount Rushmore here. What do you guys think? Should we bite the bullet with the main list, or should we go around about and then come back to it?
I think we should bite the bullet. How's it taste?
Kind of metallic. So... Nice. I think we got to have Austin as a lock, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking it's a bit of a cop-out, but people like Foley and Kingston, I do think we can make a sub list of like the fun people and kind of put them on there. I think the other four, or the other three that are in discussion, mostly at least for me, would be Shawn Michaels, Kane, Roman Reigns, Ric Flair, and Edge.
For me, it's Michaels, Kane, and Roman, and it's not very close. I can maybe hear Ric Flair out because that was an incredible performance.
I think it would be, for me, it would be Austin, Kane, Reigns, and then one of Cena or Mysterio.
So you would go Cena or Mysterio over Michaels, but we all have Kane and Roman and Austin.
Michaels won 2 awful Royal Rumbles. And as far as that said, it's just like the going from one, yeah, it's impressive, but it's not impressive when the Rumble's so short. So,
but he's still the first person to do it.
Yeah, but he was there less time than most people not most people, but a considerable number of people that had been in all the previous Rumbles beforehand.
That's not like his fault.
It's not his fault, but like I can't just because he was a victim of circumstance in that regard doesn't mean that I should judge him there because of that. He won one of the shittiest Rumbles of all time. And then he won one which was slightly better, but still not great. I think the whole boyhood dream story that you talked about, like him being the archetype thing, would have meant a lot more if he'd have won it at the first time.
I'll grant you that.
He lost his first Royal Rumble title match.
I'll grant you that, but he's still the archetype.
I mean, Brett won. Yeah, after winning the Rumble.
Yeah, but they didn't. Like that story.
And they had him like lifted up afterwards, and all the celebrations and stuff like that.
That's true.
Granted, but the road to WrestleMania wasn't as, oh my god, this is my story, my dream, as it was with Michael.
I think there is an argument for Edge as well. I'd say that just because I think that both the Cena return from injury and the Edge return are probably the two greatest Royal Rumble moments of all time, in my opinion. I just feel like they're two things that just caught everybody off guard and everybody went crazy for it. And they're the things that kind of like they're moments that just kind of live with you. That you'll just like think about every now and again and just like will just pop up in your head randomly, even if you hadn't been thinking about the Royal Rumble or even anything wrestling related, they might just pop up and just go, oh, that was a really cool moment. I'm glad that I remember that. And Mysterio is the outside of the greatest Royal Rumble, is the longest in any Royal Rumble match. So he is the definition of an Iron Man.
Didn't Jericho Jericho set like a minute shorter. That's
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Jericho and Flair are both like just a bit shorter than him. I think they're the only ones, them and Benoit are the only ones to have topped an hour.
So even though I said before, you guys don't need to see this on your screens because we are going to just kind of run these down and all that, I am creating a separate thing on my own, just Excel spreadsheet that I'm screen sharing with Rob and Callum right now because I'm thinking we could make these subcategories. You know, we did the last Mount Rushmore we had like 14 fucking lists or something, or 38 lists or whatever it was. I don't remember. I do think that it's worth a discussion for some of these other little things like that. We will settle on the list, which right now we've got, it seems, Stone Cold, Kane, and Roman we're all in agreement with. And then we've got the potential of Edge, Shawn Michaels, Rey Mysterio, and John Cena. Whoa, I don't want to do that. Sorry for everybody with that noise. That's kind of what we're looking at as far as like our list. I don't think we're going to end up putting anybody else on there. So we might come back to this discussion. We might be better off settling on some of these other like side lists and then coming back to, you know what, if this person's on this and that and that and that, maybe we'll give them that spot on there. That's usually how we're diplomatic in the past. If we were going to do a Mount Rushmore of just winners, now we can double things up, you know, Stone Cold, you know, Hulk Hogan, whatever it might be. The 4 winners, they exemplify winning the Royal Rumble. Stone Cold Steve Austin, probably on agreement with, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then who you guys thinking? Because we've got Hogan
John
1,
Cena.
Hogan 1, 2, Cena 1, 2, Batista 1, 2, Michaels 1, 2, Edge 1, 2,
Triple H 1, 2,
Triple H 1, 2,
Orton 1, 2.
Randy Orton, yeah.
I am saying Shawn Michaels, John Cena, and I don't know. There's not even like a 4th winner that really stands out like that.
I'd say you're probably looking at Cena, probably Michaels, and I'd say Ric Flair for that one.
I was going to say, actually, the Ric Flair thing.
For winner, maybe Flair, yeah.
I could see an argument for Ric Flair because just because he won more than one doesn't mean that means more. So, yeah, I do think Ric Flair, we can all probably agree on that one. Stone Cold and Ric Flair. Because quality does trump quantity.
Sure.
We could go with somebody who went the distance. So that could be either like a Rey or Michaels or technically Benoit, but you know, whatever, or Edge.
I would discount Edge just because Edge didn't win either of his title matches at WrestleMania.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah, I could see putting more emphasis on Shawn than Edge because Shawn did win from the number 1, and even though that wasn't the year that he won, he was the focal point of 96. I think I'd lean more towards Shawn being on the winners list than Edge or Rey.
I'd still put Cena in there as well.
I can see a case for Cena. Maybe we'll do this the way that we've done it before. Cena or Hogan? Who deserves to be on the winners list more?
Cena.
Cena or Triple H?
Cena.
Triple H or Hogan?
Triple H.
Okay, so then definitely Hogan and Triple H out of the mix. Cena in the possibility. Orton or Batista?
Orton. I don't actually. Neither.
They're pretty tied. Yeah. Like
ultimately Cena over both of them for sure, right?
correct.
Oh yeah.
All right, so then we're not going Orton or Batista for any of that. We're getting 2 names out of this group of 3.
Shawn and John. Why are we doing
Yeah,
this?
Shawn and John, yeah.
Shawn and John?
Yeah.
All right, cool. There we go. We got our list of the winners there, because we're not going to go like, Brett won that, but then technically speaking, whatever. We already did the argument for Shawn on that one.
Eliminations, I'd say Austin.
Well, I think we got to go Kane on the elimination side.
Kane, Austin.
I would assume
up on that.
Roman Reigns.
Roman.
Technically speaking, Stone Cold in that mix. Technically speaking, Braun Strowman, if we do want to kind of count that. We got Brock Lesnar is up there. Let's
Brock
go with
is probably going to be the one I'd go with.
As far as eliminations go, cumulative, we got Undertaker and Shawn. They're at 40.
I'd be all right putting Taker on there. Maybe Brock and Taker if we're not going to double up from the winners list.
We got 3 votes for Kane and Reigns. So we need 2 more out of that.
I'd put Brock in because he has the... Like, you've picked the other 2 guys that had the records for a long better time. So, and I'm still discounting the Greatest Royal Rumble as non-canon, so I'm not going to put Strowman in there.
I can see a case for Brock being... He gets some of the most eliminations, but he also does it in a way that's completely different. And again, quality over quantity sometimes. Brock Lesnar destroyed half the Royal Rumble. Nobody ever else had done that in the past. So 1 Royal Rumble of doing that. I mean, we got 1 Royal Rumble of Ric Flair winning. Makes sense. I'd put Brock in there. 3 votes for Brock?
Absolutely, I'd put Brock in there.
So we need 1 more from that list. It's we could probably more than likely boot Braun off.
Yeah.
We got Shawn, Undertaker, and Austin. Shawn and Undertaker, 40, and Austin with how many has Austin got at this point?
36, I think.
Austin is where do I not have Stone Cold Steve Austin on this?
You have Steve Austin.
Oh, he's just Steve Austin, that's why. Yeah, 36. So he is just narrowly underneath that 40 range.
I'd still say Austin, though.
Austin gets the cleaning the house kind of spot in 97 where he's going through. He's got that spot with the, checking the watch kind of deal. Yeah.
His eliminations are more fun than the other 2.
And he wins the Royal Rumble without. Yeah. So Stone Cold. All right. Just for the sake of it. No, I'm not going to rearrange that. Screw it. So we got Iron Man, oddball, surprises, and worst before we settle on who the actual 4th of the overall list would be.
So worst has to be like Bushwhacker, Warlord,
Santino, Titus O'Neil.
Santina can't be on this.
For the worst?
Because he's got the...
Because he came runner-up 1 year.
But he's got the quickest time, so that's worth a discussion point.
It shouldn't just... it shouldn't just be based on... for some, it should be for people like the Warlord, because the Warlord literally didn't do anything in Royal Rumble except get eliminated really quickly. I would say that definitely in the discussion for the worst, I'd say even a lock is Mil Mascaras.
Mil Mascaras is worth it. Yeah.
Because he eliminated himself.
Oh, yeah.
I'd argue that Randy Savage should be on this because he pinned someone. He tried to pin someone in a Royal Rumble match.
That's pretty bad, yeah.
I like him.
Let's see. I'm looking through this list to see if there's anybody who's... we should probably talk, if we're talking worst, Scotty Too Hottie.
He does always struggle to get the ring.
He doesn't even get into the ring most of the time, so that's really bad.
I mean, we could mention James Ellsworth.
What did he do?
He eliminated the women's Royal Rumble?
No, he came down. He was in the men's Royal Rumble in it would have been 2017, I think, because he gets eliminated by Strowman, throws him out of the ring really, really hard. Like, he doesn't land. Like, he takes a really rough landing to the outside. This doesn't really count.
Good.
I was saying, this doesn't really count because technically he wasn't in the Royal Rumble, but you could say Taka Michinoku.
That's best. What are you talking about?
Oh, Daniel Puder. We watched the 2005 Royal Rumble.
Oh.
See, he has a real shit time there, but I don't think he has worst Mount Rushmore of all time kind of qualifying. Because he's like, I don't know. I kind of feel like if you popped up one time and that's all you do, you were kind of doomed anyway. But it's more of a problem to me if you're somebody who you're eliminated super quick and you're a complete joke, or you're a guy who really should be better off and you really, really suck. Trying to think of like some more examples of some of these, because it's like, yeah, you know, JTG sucked, but who cares? You know, like what did I don't know, what did Mo do? Fucking whatever. You know,
he came right in and got eliminated in 95. Came right in and King Kong Bundy just throws him right over.
Well, nothing's really stopping us from, just say, for instance, putting Vicky Guerrero on this.
I mean, we could technically put somebody on the women's list on the worst overall.
Yeah. Because these ones are not, they're not set in stone ones, realistically. They're not like, they don't all have to be men type thing.
Well, Bushwhacker Luke, I think, is definitely worth putting in there. The guy walks in and walks out.
And he's having a blast. Like, I would love to. They were just having a good time.
Warlord, I think, is.
Yeah, I think these moments are fun.
That's true.
It's like that kind of just takes it away from me. I want people on the worst that are just like it wasn't fun and why were you here type thing.
So maybe do worst not fun, worst fun list. Because it's like, what do you call it? To clarify, like, what do you mean worst? Do you mean worst like legitimately bad, not entertaining, or do you mean worst as in like, yeah, Santino got the shortest time? If it's worst, like just shit and it's not fun, it is a different kind of thing. So yeah, maybe we should kind of clarify that. So if it's like some worst on fun, Bushwhacker Luke, right? Santino, probably, from the quickest elimination. Maybe Warlord, and either like Mil Mascaris, Scotty Too Hotty, or Titus O'Neil. Maybe
Mil Mascaris is worst, not fun.
He would be on the worst, not fun. Yeah.
Yeah, because I would say like, I mean, there's arguments for worst, not fun for some oddball things to go like. I'd say worst, not fun. You could put Vince McMahon because that 99 Rumble is utter trash, and it's him and Austin that's the main culprit of that, realistically. And he should never really have won a Royal Rumble in the first place.
I don't know if I'd fully go putting him on there, but I could see subscribing to that idea.
Like, who are some people that just like in the Rumble that just like
suck the energy and just yeah.
Oh, you could say Ray for the 2014 one.
No, I don't think we should do Ray that bad. He was an unfortunate circumstance for him. Some actual bad just sucked.
Drew Carey.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah, you know, that might be on that list.
Trying to think of others that stand out. Muhammad Hassan.
Nah, I think that's fun.
Oh yeah.
There are a lot of people that just like flat out suck. Like, you know, Tom Brady. He gets 12 seconds because he just gets punch tossed out, and it's like, yeah, it's stupid, but how many of them are there? There's probably 50 something people that are exactly the same. Squat team. Sure. Garbage. Are they memorable garbage as being that bad, or are they just shit people? You know?
Yeah, it has to be memorably like bad, but not in a like, oh, why did this happen type thing. I don't know. Maybe we're overthinking it, as we typically do.
That's kind of what these lists tend to be. A little bit of
That's on
overthinking.
brand for us. It's not like you don't do that.
Christopher Nowinski broke his nose in a Rumble by having like Rey Mysterio actually have Edge land on his face.
Something like a Dan Maith is not memorable enough.
Gilbert?
He just comes in and gets pushed out, right?
Yeah, he comes in and does the Goldberg pose, and Edge just tosses him over the top rope.
That's good.
Maybe at least an honorable mention for Duke the Dumpster Droese. The guy gets the number 30 spot. He lasts a minute. Why are you wasting the number 30 spot, you know?
Yeah, that's pretty bad. It's a 96 Rumble, and that's why the 96 one is bad.
One of the reasons why it's not all that great.
Yeah.
Not entirely Duke Dumpster Drosie's fault. Chicken Media Line Blue. Oh, mate, you know what? Fake Razor Ramon.
First eliminated in 97.
He comes out with no music because it botches.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's got to be on that worst not fun list. Man, there's actually quite a bit in the 97 one because Ahmed eliminates himself, and that's completely pointless.
Oh, what about Alex Riley? Because he slips out of the match before he's supposed to.
Oh, that's right. He does do that, yeah.
In the 2011 one.
Possibly.
The coach, Jonathan Coachman.
Just for being there?
Yeah, why was he was in 2 Royal Rumbles.
I will say this, in the 2005 one, he was in there for far too long.
In 2006 he was eliminated, I think, in about like a minute. Let's see if anyone just stands out as being like pretty bad.
Yeah, because there's like Latin Lover, Mantar.
Oh, I remember Matt Morgan when he was in. I think he was in 2004 Royal Rumble. Was the only one he was in. I think he got eliminated in about less than a minute. Just like a big guy in the thing.
I don't think that the Ricardo Rodriguez thing was all that fun.
Worth noting that they bothered to eliminate DDP while cutting to Maven because that was bad.
So at least Mil Mascaras, Fake Razor for 2 of the spots of the worst not fun. We do have a couple other ones on this. Maybe the Drew Carey one. What do you guys think?
Oh yeah,
yes, for sure.
Because he symbolizes the awful idea of bringing in a celebrity for no reason. Maybe Johnny Knoxville will prove that wrong. I don't know. And then a 4th one for worst not fun. It is kind of worth potentially saying Vince McMahon.
I mean, he does have also one of the most fun moments in Rumble history when he tears both his quads trying to get it down into the ring. But technically he wasn't in that one. I mean, you could say for the 99 one. I mean, 99 is so... You could put Mabel for getting attacked by the Ministry on his way to, like, after coming out. And you know how this podcast likes to put Mabel on the list.
poor Mabel.
I don't think that him getting attacked doing that's any worse than any of the other ones.
I'm putting Vince in because like Vince always deserves to be on a list of worse things.
And it's like it really does screw that Royal Rumble up, that whole Vince story, because they just keep cutting away from it and all that. It's not fun.
He's on commentary for most of it, yeah.
That's peak 99. Like everything is a story. Nothing in the ring matters.
Yeah. Now, if you're counting, if you are decided to just for one instance count the Greatest Royal Rumble, then yes, you would put Titus into the worst fun one because that's.
I think so. I think we kind of have to because it's like he fucking not only does he botch trying to break Santino's quick record one year, but the guy trips and falls to the ring. Nobody else has ever done that. He rockets himself under the ring. Like, how the fuck did this happen? So I do think that there's worth a potential discussion to say to knock out Warlord or Santino and then put Scotty 2 Hotty on there, but I think Scotty 2 Hotty just happened to be a loser for multiple years. Everybody else gets attacked to the ring. It's fine. I think Bushwhacker Luke, Santino, Warlord, Titus, they're the worst fun elimination things. I think that works.
I think so.
If we go to Iron Man, we got people like you got Ray, you got Daniel Bryan, you got Edge, Shawn Michaels, technically, but we're not going to pick Shawn Michaels for the Iron Man thing, probably, right? Because it's only 30 minutes. He's the first that goes number one, but you know,
he probably lost longer in the second Rumble than he won.
He might have actually. Let's take a look at that. The times for Shawn Michaels, we've got in 95 he was 38:41 and 96 26:09, so almost.
I'm sure at least in one Rumble that he's had since then he's lasted longer.
That's so wild.
No.
Oh, well, he got close with what? He got close with 2008. He got 32.
Yeah, 32 minutes, just a little bit shy of that, but again, 95, not a good Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
We're not going to pick
Ric
Benoit on this list, but Ric Flair,
Yeah,
he's worth a potential spot on that.
Bob Backlund is also is worth mentioning that.
Didn't oh god, not
What about Lawler? He should undo the ring.
Yeah, Lawler was great with that.
Hornswoggle was never actually eliminated, and neither was Curtis Axel. So maybe we put this.
Rick Martel was a really long one for a long time, but he's been overtaken by some other people.
Yeah, I mean, you could technically say for Iron Man, if you want to counter it for like spanning all Rumbles, isn't Triple H got the most cumulative time, or is it Jericho?
I think it might be Jericho right now. Let's see. So Triple H's cumulative time, according to my list, is 4 hours and 50 minutes. Chris Jericho is at 4:59:33. Yeah. So Jericho right now has the longest amount of time if this list is pointing me in the right direction, which it should because I did all the numbers.
Where's Ray on the cumulative one?
Ray is at 4:05.
Okay, so he's like 2 good Rumble appearances left to probably try and break that. Really good. But yeah, I think that it's worth considering Jericho for that, just because for the longest span of time, just overall.
Chris Jericho possibly on there. So Edge, Danny Bryan, Rey Mysterio, Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair, Bob Backlund, Chris Jericho. A list of 7 people. We got to take 3 out of that list. Any 3 that stand out? Maybe Bob Backlund, since we got Ric Flair.
I'd say Backlund, Michaels, and then the non-canon Greatest Royal Rumble takes Bryan out.
What would your 3 picks that you'd take out of there, baby, Rob?
I'd say that I would take out.
Right.
Definitely Bryan, because non-canon. And I'd say take out Michaels, because it's really short. And probably Backlund. Like, Backlund's, he's up there, but nobody's going to remember.
Alrighty, so then that makes it Rey Mysterio, Edge, Chris Jericho, and Ric Flair for our Iron Man options. Giving a little bit more to the Rey Mysterio, who's not going to be on our men's list most likely, considering we've got these options, but he could be. We got oddball surprises. We got the trope pillars, where we can actually just pick like, okay, we got to pick only one winner. We got to pick only one elimination, only one whatever, that kind of thing. Oddball surprises. Maybe they don't even need to necessarily be a separate list, but I would think as far as like surprise entrants go, John Cena being one of them. 2008.
John Cena and Edge are the two logs.
I'm cool with them going in there.
Yep.
Any other big surprises you guys are thinking of? Actually, I'd put China. I mean, not China. God damn it. We did the whole thing with
Yeah, we said that already.
Did you want to say Karma then?
No, I was going to say just China, whatever, but then I forgot that you said that she qualified because I wasn't watching at that time.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
She were? It was 99.
I was like heading out of it.
Well, at the Royal Rumble? I think they're not time to be getting out of it.
If the last WWF magazine that I remember having was the one with Austin's head on it for that Rumble. And then I stopped. I was like, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be watching this the rest of this year kind of thing.
What about Diesel? Because it causes Matt Striker to curse live on air.
I was thinking either Booker T or Diesel for that whole Matt Striker. I'll mark it out, bro.
So let's see. We got potentially Diesel. We got Booker T. We got Santina. We got the Godfather popping up a couple times. Maybe there's argument for Foley because of the three faces of Foley going in there, but he's also somebody I had put down as potential for the oddball.
Oh, what about Roddy Piper in 2008?
Oh, Piper and Snuka. That's a good one.
Roddy Piper, certainly a possibility for that. Snuka, not as much.
Yada yada.
Yeah, yada yada problematic. That's a phrase. So it's used it this way. Yada yada problematic. That shit's happened. It wasn't really a shock to see Vince in there because that was a whole story for that.
Bubba Ryan 2015.
That was big enough to go on there, I think. But he was really cool to pop up then. It was fun.
Boogeyman in 2015.
I don't think I don't think he'll be going on in that regard. But RVD in 2009.
Not my mind. And not just because it's RVD, but I do tend to put a little bit less emphasis on people that were just on the roster not that long beforehand. Same reason why I wouldn't say like Hurricane or
well, Jericho came back in 2013 as number 2.
I like that one.
I would say no, but I'll put him on the list if you both are saying a possibility because he might outrank me. Big shocking people. Not seeing a whole lot that are standing out to me.
Oh,
Christian. Christian's got to be. Is that 3 votes for Christian?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Christian. Oh! AJ Styles.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. All right. There you go. There's your 4th AJ Styles. Because that was huge.
That was legitimately like, what is this music? Who is this guy?
So if we go oddball, Mick Foley and Kofi Kingston, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
And then we got 2 more people that we could put on the oddball. And that could be just like almost anything that's just like wacky, fun, odd, strange. Kofi's obviously in there for saving himself.
Did we put Santina in there for doing the Santina in one of the women's rumbles, doing the shortest entrance, and being the runner-up in 2011?
Possibly.
I think so, yeah. I think it's a good shout. I'm trying to think of anyone that does something that's just like remarkably oddball. Yeah, I don't really know how to kind of
because
define
even like Maven, it's not really that odd. It's just kind of like, oh shit, what's going to happen? Right. This, but then, and it's not like Adam Rose or John Morrison or maybe Lawler.
Maybe Lawler.
Because Lawler's got some good stuff. He hides under the ring. He does
Toggle was an option as well, technically.
Lawler's got that spot in 97 where he comes out from the commentary booth gets 2 punches, flips over, heads back to the commentary booth. I'd put Lawler on there. We got a second vote for Lawler, or maybe even a third?
I'd put Lawler. I mean, Lawler is a fun Royal Rumble entrant. Heads into the ring one year. He literally says it takes a king to, and then gets punched right back out and acts like he was never in there. He makes his WWF debut in the Rumble.
Noah King McMahon. so good. I love that. So Foley, Kingston, Lawler, maybe Santino. I can't think of anybody else that would beat Santino on the list in my mind.
Mm.
Anybody else we're forgetting?
The only thing I think of that's like as funny as that is Randy Savage trying to pin Yokozuna.
Yeah, and
that is a really bad Royal Rumble attempt.
So then, if we go the last 2 lists that we got here, we got trope pillars, and then we got to figure out that 4th spot on the main list. We can only pick one winner. One person who symbolizes winner, so it's got to be on this list. It's Austin, Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels, or John Cena.
Austin.
I think I'd go Austin. Yeah. We can only pick one person from Eliminations. I think we're probably going to go Kane or Roman.
I'd have to go Kane.
I'm on the fence between Kane and Roman. I don't know.
It's either Kane or Roman, but I'd go Kane personally.
What do you think, Callum?
Kane's one is more iconic, I think.
I'm cool with having Kane on there, yeah. We needed one Iron Man from...
Flair.
Okay, well, 2 for Flair. I was thinking that there might be more of a discussion for Flair. And then one for the... Not necessarily surprise, but at the oddball... Or actually, I should probably just other.
Kofi.
Thinking Kofi.
If it's between either the oddball or surprise, it's Cena.
You know?
Does the Cena return match or surpass all of Kofi's saving himself?
I think
that's the question.
I think that's a stupid question. Of course it does.
I think it's worth it. I would lean more towards Kofi, to be honest.
I can't even remember half the stuff that Kofi did.
I could probably tell you almost all of them. Maybe not necessarily in order, but
the fact that you can't. Okay, so the fact that unless right now you can name all the things that Kofi did, then John Cena goes on the list.
So one year Kofi was rolling on the chair. He did the handstand.
Okay.
He ran on the barricade.
Okay.
He got saved by Adam Rose. Not Adam Rose, but his people.
The Rosebuds.
He got caught by the New Day. He got the pancakes.
Yep.
He jumped to the commentary table and then jumped back. And I think that's it. That's 7.
I mean, as I say, I can't remember.
I think he did it. I mean, that's got to count for something. I think if you're going to split the difference and it has to be between one of the two, it might be Kofi. The only other thing I can suggest would be maybe putting Cena in for the winners just because his win is so iconic.
I'd make the case for Kofi for that 4th spot. If it goes to Cena, it's not the end of the world. Gun to your head, you probably got to pick between Kofi and Cena. Callum or Rob?
Well, Cena.
All right, Rob, you're the difference maker. Is it Cena or is it Kofi?
I think the Cena moment is more iconic.
All right, Cena gets in there then, which means our overall men's list, we got to figure on that 4th one. We got Stone Cold, we got Kane, we got Roman.
I think we just made the case for John Cena. You know, like that win, it's like in the same way I made the case for Michaels, that Cena win is the pillar of like anything can happen at the Royal Rumble.
Between Michaels, Edge, Cena, Mysterio, and Flair for that final spot. Oh, that's tough. I don't think Ray.
I think I'd
take Ray
disqualify
off.
Ray. Michaels.
I don't think Edge. Even though Edge kind of checks off what Michaels brings and what Cena brings, because he's got the surprise win from coming back from injury, and he's got the number 1 go the distance.
They're both like
they're lesser than the 2 other things.
Well, I'd say his win from number 1 is more impressive than Michaels' win from number 1, but it loses it the fact that he's the third guy to do it.
Right. And then you figure Ray's number 2, and then so it's like, yeah.
Flair's more remembered for that thing than Edge probably will be.
I kind of think maybe Flair would go on 4th for me, oddly enough, even over Michaels, Edge, and Cena.
I'd still go Cena.
If I'm picking between Cena and Flair, I'd probably go with Shawn.
2 votes for John Cena again there.
Because I've already said that like my pick would have been Shawn, but you guys have made convincing enough arguments against Shawn. And as good as the Flair win is, I just think that the 4 men we have, their combined Rumble experiences mean so much more and show the importance of the event.
Man, that's a tough thing because it really makes you kind of want to go like, and then the 5th one is one of the guys that starts from the beginning. Like, it's kind of one of those, but
yeah, because then you want to go, well, Kane never won, so maybe we should put Flair, or one of those things.
I mean, that is an argument. Do you think we should?
Kane is so iconic. And it'll vary, as we say with every Mount Rushmore, it will vary with generation.
Probably.
But like for me, and I'm sure for Callum, Kane was Royal Rumble. Like that was something you look forward to every year.
I think that we have to consider that there will always be more opportunities to put Ric Flair on a Mount Rushmore list.
That's true.
that as well. I mean, and like
unless we're really keen on doing more, that we're doing the next one is going to be the Mount Rushmore Inferno matches. I don't think there's many more opportunities for Kane to get on.
And the reality is, leave your comments below. Obviously, if you're younger, if you're like a Gen Z, Kofi's probably one of the first names you put on the list above all these other people. It really depends on perspective, and that's what I love about these Mount Rushmores.
So we do have one more thing left to do. We need to crown who Mr. Royal Rumble is. We know Mr. WrestleMania. We know basically Mr. Survivor Series is Randy Orton. But who's Mr. Royal Rumble?
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah, it's Austin.
So I'm leaning towards, yep. It's Stone Cold. Because he was the easiest one that we put on all these lists, it seemed. He didn't go on every list, obviously.
The first thing we said was, Austin's on the list, right? Yeah. Again, he did every single Royal Rumble match. They never pulled him out for a title match. It's important to note because they've done that for everybody else. Shawn's defending in 98. Brett is in the title match in 95. Brett's in the title match in 96. Cena has missed multiple Royal Rumble matches to be in title matches. Austin was always in the Royal Rumble match because that's where the focus was, because Austin was that important. It's Austin.
Yep. You said it. So that checks that off. I mean, maybe we'll figure out who Mr. SummerSlam is or something. I don't know. Mr. Money in the Bank. Mr. Money in the Bank?
I mean, I can tell you, Mr. SummerSlam Brock Lesnar already.
Brock does show up for SummerSlam.
That's probably going to be the argument that we'll have if we do that back in SummerSlam, because it's probably going to be that. There we go. We figured it out too.
Well, just wait. We'll get to the Mount Rushmore SummerSlam matches or something. Somewhere
down the line, we'll probably do a SummerSlam related thing. Yeah. Whether it's that or it's, I don't know, SummerSlam logos or something fucking weird. I don't know.
We did that already. Did we go through a whole thing about how we like classic logos better than modern minimalist logos?
I know I've written up multiple articles about it at the very least, which you can find out there. But I think that's is all the lists that we can actually go with for Royal Rumble. I don't think there's really any stone left unturned If there is, of course, drop a comment. Let us know that we forgot something, and then we'll try to do that, I don't know, next year. Or we'll do it as a Darkcast, or we'll do it as a Patreon thing. You always have the Pick Your Poison tier. I think that this covers pretty much all of it, though. And if you've got different lists, let us know. I will have these up on the wiki page for anybody who wants, like, I lost track of who'd you guys pick for whatever. I'm not going to put them in the comments because then people aren't going to read that, but this will be on the wiki list. So, for reference, you can check them out. And look at that. We did another Mount Rushmore of, technically speaking, we could have just done Austin, Kane, Roman, and John Cena. And instead we did, 8 lists or something. That's what I like doing with these. I think that's, you're getting more bang for your buck on that one. And anything else you want to talk about? Drop a comment about that as well. Anything else you guys want to mention? Or should we just round things out with the rest of the plugs?
The Royal Rumble is the best pay-per-view of the year. Even shitty years are fun Royal Rumbles.
Imagine doing the Mount Rushmore of WWE pay-per-views. Just like, all right.
Gee, I want to.
Royal Rumble, WrestleMania.
And Survivor Series. There you go.
That's when you make the argument. No, fuck SummerSlam. This one needs to be
Armageddon.
Yeah, breaking point. Callum, any last thoughts?
It's always good to look forward to Royal Rumble matches. There always is a degree of uncertainty, even when it sometimes feels like it all feels like it's going to be too predictable. They'll find some way to make this one at least some way entertaining, I imagine. And yeah, I think it's probably just worth going back and watching a lot of the Rumbles where we've talked about some of the best people, because the reason why they are we rank them so highly is because they are involved in some of the best Rumbles in history. So, or check those ones out and feel bad about what's going to come in 2022.
Maybe in 2022, the Royal Rumbles. Maybe this year we get some things where we immediately go on the post show. You know what? Let's boot these people off and let's put that in there instead. You'll find out when we find out. Yeah, Royal Rumbles are fun. They're great. And you're great for listening to this podcast. So thank you for doing that, everybody. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter at SmarkOutMoment. Follow fanboysanonymous.com and everything else that's happening over there for whatever happens on the movie review side of things, or fan tracks, or I don't know, random editorials that I get the time to necessarily do. I got a lot of things that I've been wanting to work on. That's for sure. Just haven't had the time to do them. So, maybe I'll get something about my fantasy writing of what Kick-Ass 3 should be, or maybe I'll talk about something else. I don't know. But follow that. Follow me at Tony Mango, and follow what these guys have going as well. Rob?
Follow me everywhere at Dude Felice. I believe I'll be doing some Royal Rumble trivia with Sports Keto this weekend. I think I'll be, of course, on Fightful.com and all that good stuff, writing up news. And check out Dude Felice everywhere, and stay tuned for DudeFelice.com, because I do actually have somebody working on that now.
You can find me on Twitter at WakeWest14. Check out everything on the SmarkOutMoment.com website, but make sure to beeline for the power rankings, my week-to-week contribution. And yeah, other than that, just stay tuned. Look forward to all the Royal Rumble coverage coming on here as well. And yeah, that's it from me.
That's going to be it for all of us. Thank you for checking out this next edition of the Mount Rushmore. Let us know what you want for the one to follow it. We don't have really a game plan for when the next Mount Rushmore is going to be, but if you really want us to harp on like something around Money in the Bank time or WrestleMania time or something, let us know, and we'll take that into consideration. The next main thing that you should be hearing from us is probably going to be some sort of fantasy booking for Royal Rumbles, but it might also be the hot tags. I don't know where we're going to record these things, so one or the other. And then next week, we're going to get into the Royal Rumble for this year. We're going to get their predictions out there. We're going to talk about the post-show after that. So stay tuned for those things. Just make sure you are subscribed and that you hop over to SmarkOutMoment.com and check out what's happening. We'll see you next time, though, everybody. This is it for this edition. Adios for now. This has been another Smark Out Moment, and we're being counted out.